In this video we're gonna go through the most basic plyometric exercises that are used for development of explosive power and jumping height. And with me today I have my friend Martin, and if anyone merits to the term freak athlete, it would most likely be this guy. Here are some of the things he has done. So he's a former volleyball player on an elite level, so he's been doing plyometrics for practically his whole life. And one day he decided to transition into Olympic weightlifting and he started to excel at that sport as well. So this guy knows everything there is to know about power, and he's gonna help me demonstrate the plyometrics that we're gonna do today. So first up we have the hurdle jumps. Those are one of the most basic plyometric exercises you can use. I would recommend up to 6 repetitions, maximal effort on each jump. And like I've talked about in my past videos, you need to use your elastic energy, the stretch shortening cycle. Pay attention to how short his contact times are on each step before he jumps to the next hurdle. And pay attention to his arm swing, how he activates like this explosive intention of every jump. You want to jump as high as you can, regardless of the height of the hurdle, to produce maximal power and teach your brain to produce maximal power. This is what plyometrics is all about. Let's revisit the term contact time again. Why should the contact time be low? This is for the precise reason that you increase the elastic energy of the so-called stretch shortening cycle again, which I have gone through in my previous video. But basically, your muscles, they have elastic properties, and the shorter your contact time is, if you, for example, imagine that the floor is made of lava or something and you wanna jump just upon contact, spend as little time as you can on the ground, you will utilize this elastic energy and it will aid you in power production. If you wait for too long, this elastic energy is lost. Next up we have the long jumps, and it's the exact same principle here. You have to use your arm swing, short contact times and maximal power production on each jump. The only difference here is that the power is directed in a horizontal plane. Also, for the purpose of variation and depending on the sport, all of those exercises, the plyometric exercises, they can be performed with a single leg also. For example, if your sport have a lot of like shifting to one side of your body in it, like for example ice hockey or things like that, then it can be appropriate to incorporate those variations also. Now, regardless of which variation you choose, it is very recommended that you have a base of strength in your core musculature and your leg musculature, because plyometrics can be very stressful to your knees, joints and ligaments, so you have to have a base of strength in your core and legs so that they can absorb this shock that comes with plyometric training. Now, there is no clear-cut answer to how much leg strength you need, so the only thing I look for my athletes is that they can display good landing when doing the plyometrics. Like, your knees cannot cave to either side, your body cannot shift when you land, you should not feel any pain, you should be like a bouncing ball almost, like completely absorbing the shock in a good way. Next up we have the depth jump. So for this exercise you actually have to stand on a height and jump down on the ground, and immediately upon contact jump as high as you can with as much power as you can. Now, depending on the height of the box, it might be challenging to jump up again, like the contact time might be pretty long, but this is the point, because you wanna train yourself to produce maximal power despite this, so you can better absorb this shock and increase your power output. Now, the height at which you jump from depends entirely on the strength level of the athlete. Like, it can vary between 60 centimeters to sometimes over a meter. It depends on the athlete, how much force they can absorb and how much they can redirect this force. So, you have to experiment for yourself. And lastly, we have the box jumps, and it has been debated whether the box jumps constitutes as plyometrics at all, because they lack this shock absorption phase that is essential in the stretch shortening cycle and plyometrics in general. Either way, in my opinion, it makes a perfect beginner choice if you want to get introduced to plyometrics, because you jump on this height and it basically absorbs majority of the force and it's very safe for your knee ligaments and all of that. But if you want to progress in time, you have to get introduced to hurdles and the drop jumps, the depth jumps and all of them later, but it's a good beginner's choice. Now in this video on the box jumps, we're just playing around, like the height is not the deciding factor here. The deciding factor is that you exert maximal amounts of force on each jump and you do the triple extension of your body. That is the hips, ankles and knees. You need to extend your body before landing and maximal power output. It's not the height that is important. The height is just a reference point. Now that's it for this video. Obviously there's a lot more to cover when it comes to plyometric training because it's a very complex issue. You cannot learn everything there is to know from one little video like this, but you can watch my other videos on the subject, and I'm gonna provide right now a quick little questions and answers list of your common concerns. Thanks for watching.